1, 2. Him. It's okay if you hate me, my brother.
You ready?
You ready, Nick?
I'm a pipe in.
Let's get 'em.
After you patch these UK. I got a problem with this list for a variety of reasons. I'm gonna be real brief in terms of people who were snubbed. You can't mention the top 20 rap groups and exclude people like the Ghetto Boys. That just makes no sense. One of the pioneering gangster genre hip hop groups put up numbers. Not to mention that each individual member sustained a level of success as a solo artist. Willie D had solo projects. Bushwick had solo projects. Rest in peace to him. And Scarface, legendary MC, he's had a plethora of solo projects. To exclude the Ghetto Boys was the first problem that I seen with this list. It made absolutely no sense. It was mind-boggling that happened like that. To add groups like the Fugees, not the Fugees, the Migos to this list over the Ghetto Boys, it tells me that the people responsible for compiling this list were probably some younger guys. You know what I'm saying? I've often spoken about Complex Magazine, Billboard Magazine, them choosing their talent by way of interns. A lot of people who they hire as writers at these companies are fresh out of college. And in order to make an all-time rap list of any type, I feel that you should be at least 50 years old. This past year was the 50th year of hip-hop. You need to have these lists made up of a panel or made by people who have witnessed hip-hop from its infancy stages all the way up to until the present time. A lot of these people, they're not who are compiling these lists. They aren't in tune with the relevance of somebody like the Ghetto Boys. Another group that was unjustly snubbed was EPMD. Now, I've said that groups who were duos shouldn't be listed on as groups. There's a difference between. I feel there's a difference between a group and a duo. A group should be 3 or more people. A duo is just that. It's 2 people. EPMD, some might say, well, that's a duo. I have to object. EPMD had a celebrity DJ by the name of DJ Scratch. So that's 3 different personalities, 3 different performers who added to the performance. Houdini wasn't listed. Again, I said that the people responsible for compiling this list was probably a little younger. Houdini, tons of hit songs, relevant hit songs. Houdini was one of the actual groups who performed in the original Fresh Fest in 1984 alongside, I believe, the Fat Boys and Run DMC. The Fat Boys is another group that probably should have been considered as one of the top 20 hip-hop groups of all time. When you got people listed like the Migos and you don't list a group like Bone Thugs and Harmony, who broke records, who brought something original to hip-hop and had a great deal of success all through the 90s, when you put the Migos over somebody like that, I got to question the integrity of the said list. The thing with Outkast and Wu-Tang, it just won't go away. And it's subjective. People from the South are going to choose Outkast naturally. People from the Northeast region probably would choose Wu-Tang. But I can't wrap my whole mind around the thought of choosing Outkast over Wu-Tang because, number one, Wu-Tang has 10 MCs, 9 plus Capadonna. That's 10 MCs. A lot of those guys sustain great successes as solo artists. Wu-Tang as a brand, as a group, has produced mega hit, legendary, I said mega hit, legendary songs as a group. Cream, Also Simple, Triumph, It's Yours. I could go on and on. These are Wu-Tang songs, group songs. And then you have the people who contributed to the greatness of Wu-Tang in their solo accomplishments. You got Raekwon, you got Ghostface, you got Method Man, you have the RZA, you have Capadonna, the Jizza. All of these guys had very, very solid solo offerings that should be considered. I can't take anything away from Outkast, and I would not challenge anyone who wants to put Outkast as number one. I'm a big fan of Outkast. Their first debut album, Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music, classic, flawless. I love the record. All the way up to Aquemini, they just continue to grow in relevance and dimensions. The music has always been dope, but I just can't find it in myself to put them over Wu-Tang Clan. I feel that the Ghetto Boys should have been in that top 5, top 10 selections, and those were one of the Ghetto Boys and EPMD were some of the biggest snubs. You don't have other groups who could qualify as being mentioned, like the Alcoholics. Some people said that the West Coast was disrespected. No Above the Law, no Alcoholics, no Far Side, no Hieroglyphics. Again, it's all subjective. I just wanted to bring to the table some people who I feel should not have been snubbed. You had Gangstar mentioned many times. Gangstar, although they have a group name, it was a solo MC and a DJ. Guru, the solo MC, and Premier being a DJ and producer. I don't think that they really qualify as a rap group. People continue to interject Gangstar. Eric B. and Rakim. Rakim has always announced himself as the soloist. Eric B. and Rakim shouldn't be mentioned as a rap group. If anything, a duo, but not a rap group. So those are just a few of the snubs that I had in regards to this all-time greatest list of all time. And MOP was also mentioned. The Lox. People had a very, very big problem with the Lox being... the Lox wasn't mentioned in this. That just fucks everything up. 3 qualified MCs. Nice body of work. From Bad Boy all the way to the Rough Rider days. Each solo artist brought great records to the table. You've seen what happened in Madison Square Garden. The Lox should not have been not included in the top 20 rap groups of all time. The Harlem Diplomats, another group that should not have been shunned or snubbed. The Diplomats, that just don't make no sense. And it really don't make sense to have G-Unit on the list and you don't have the Lox of the Diplomats. I feel that the Diplomats and the Lox was a bigger deal than G-Unit. There's some people that look at it differently. I'm just giving you my personal opinion. In totality, I feel that we have to compile our own lists. The Cool Table, the people who have been a part of this hip-hop art form from start to finish. The problem is that we don't run any magazines anymore. You don't really have any black-owned or black writers who are dominating in the magazine media space. They actually still put out Billboard magazine. You can buy one of those off of from a newsstand. They actually still sell Complex magazine. You can actually buy those. Neither one of those magazines are ran by white people. By black people. Hip hop music was created by black people, and to create a list, you just bugging out not to include some of our favorites. So the disrespect to the Lox, that just gives you an idea of the credibility associated with this list. Moving right along, I have to discuss this. Dame Dash versus Camron. This has been going on most of the summer. back and forth, a lot of, petty shit. What made me want to discuss this is the rebuttal that came recently on YouTube. Make sure you go check it out. It's on American New YouTube channel. That's Dame Dash's YouTube channel. And you have Dame responding to Camron. Last I looked at his response video, it had about 360,000 views worldwide. I think that's probably the most viewed video on the American New channel. Dame Dash versus Camron. I'm going to try to be brief with this. I listened to the things that Dame Dash said. I feel that Dame was very, very transparent, and some of the things that he said, I witnessed with my own eyes. And I know that y'all who watching this, y'all witnessed this shit as well. I remember a time when artists from Harlem, especially the diplomats or diplomat affiliates, held Dame Dash in a very, very high position. They always praised him. Big homie this. They honored him as one of the greatest executive minds that ever came into the music business. And I know he's credited with bringing the diplomats to Rockefeller. I'm almost positive. I don't think Jay-Z had any hand in soliciting them niggas. We all know the history of Camron and Jay-Z. It's always been a little funny and shit. Dame Dash spoke of how Camron's actions may have led to the destruction of Rockefeller Records. This was when Camron went on either 106 and Park or the radio and announced that he was about to be the next vice president at Rockefeller. The news made it back to Jay-Z, who was, of course, a partner in Rockefeller. And Hov like, hell no, ain't nothing up. That's my understanding of it. Jay-Z had a problem with Dame making essentially his little homie from Harlem a vice president of a company that was owned by Jay-Z, Dame, and Biggs. Recently, Camron did on his podcast, Talk to Flea, I believe that's the name of it. He did an interview with Memphis Bleak, and they were discussing this incident. And Bleak told him that was the beginning of the end at Rockefeller. Dame Dash decided that enough was enough. Him and Cam was having this little back and forth thing that was going throughout the summer. And Dame Dash has been a victim of a lot of ridicule and, comedy and shit because of the things that's going on with his teeth. Dame Dash has also been in the news the whole summer because of lawsuits and basically having some financial issues, some turbulence in as far as, his finances go. Something that I didn't understand the whole time this has been going on was why certain people who seem to be doing well for themselves, who Dame helped in the past, didn't come to his aid. Some people said Jay-Z. I don't think that was going to happen. You had other people that said he helped Kanye. I'm not sure if that was going to happen. But the person that I assumed or felt that probably should have helped him was his fellow Harlemite, Camron. And it didn't happen. And somehow, I believe it was by way of an interview, or it could have transpired on Camron and Mace's podcast, where they spoke about Dame and some of the problems that he's having with his finances. And Cam said that he spends money crazy. He spends money on art. He had houses over in London. He put a urinal in one of his bathrooms, whatever. And I believe Dame felt some type of way about him, speaking about him in that regard. Me personally, I think that if there was any love between them, I think Cam probably could have conducted himself better in the way that he handled questions or the way that he responded to any dialogue concerning Dame Dash. I remember when he praised Dame Dash so much. I remember it like yesterday. I witnessed the whole Rockefeller dynasty, and I remember them expressing how thankful they was for Dame Dash. Dame did his response. And Dame spoke about some things that's been going on with Camron and how he feel that he didn't really support his film, Honor Up. I've spoken about this film before on this platform. The movie ain't no good. It's some bullshit. It's below Tubi standards, in my opinion. But Cam came out and said that he didn't support the film because he didn't like the film. He felt it was garbage. So Dame did his rebuttal, and he said, I want to give you some, since you said my art was garbage, I want to talk to you about your art. And Dame went on to say that Camron hasn't produced a hit record since Rockefeller. And that's the reason why he's in the podcast space now, because he ain't rapping no more. He's not built like that as far as being an MC. Me personally, Camron was never one of my favorite rappers. He wasn't. I've said this often that Camron really got his footing in the music business when he came out with the Diplomats. As a solo artist, his head was just above water. The hip-hop space was dominated by guys from Queens and Queensbridge. I'm serious. LL Cool J, 50 Cent, Nas, and the rest of them niggas from Queensbridge. Mobb Deep, Capone Noriega. Those was the guys who was the top shotters in hip-hop music. You got some people that say, well, I liked this from Cam. Cam showed some... there was times when he did produce, as a solo artist, some good music. I won't downplay that. But he was never one of the elites, in my opinion. Dame Dash spoke of him not being able to produce any hit records or keep up at all in music. The proof is in the pudding. We've been watching Camron somewhat become like a internet comedian. Whenever you hear something about Camron, it's because of maybe some feud that he's having with somebody or something that he says sarcastic about somebody, but it's not for music. Dame also spoke about the Diplomat clothing brand and how him and Camron sort of launched that together, or he helped Camron launch that initially. And in the beginning, he was the person who debuted this business venture in his Poppington art gallery, and he showed footage of some of the original designs, jerseys, whatever, in the art gallery. And he said that, after him and Cam had certain discussions about bringing this brand into the clothing space, the Camron turned around and went off and did things on his own. He said that him and Camron had a discussion about doing a deal at Revolt, and Dame said he had interest of buying Revolt. He said he spoke to Cam about doing a deal for him at Revolt, and Cam said, no, I don't want anything to do with Revolt. And then he turned around and did a deal with Revolt for, I don't know if it is what it is, or Talk to Fleet, but one of those podcasts is on Revolt. What I get out of all of this is a quote that Camron said on the movie Paid in Full. He said, everybody want to be the man just cause. And when I step back and I take a look at Dame Dash and Camron's relationship, it seems to me that Camron don't want to be Dame's little man. And this happens. It's happened to me in real life. You can give birth to a guy. You can nurture him, cultivate him, give him all your game. And before you know it, he either wants to compete with you, or he wants to take all of the game and insight that you put into him and go off and do things on his own. I can't say that there's nothing terribly wrong with Cam wanting to be his own man, but that's the problem with him and Dame Dash. It seems to me, just from the things that came out of Dame Dash's mouth during his rebuttal, that Dame wants to often be the catalyst, the big homie, the almost the boss. And he speaks of this all the time, and he might not know how to play any other role. He often wants to be the boss, or he often wants to be the person who, like I said, the Diplomat started out under Rockefeller, and it's almost like he still views Camron as maybe his little homie. I mean, he is his little homie, but Camron has signed some deals lately. He got a book deal with Simon & Schuster for $730,000. He did a deal with Revolt. He brought on Michael Irvin on him and Mace's podcast. The podcast seems to be doing very, very well. In a nutshell, it appears that Camron is doing great for himself outside of hip-hop music. And Dame, according to Dame, he's saying that now that you up, now that you on top, you treat everybody like shit. And that's often the case. You know, if they say if you want somebody's real character, give them a lot of money and their real character will seep out. That probably the person that Camron is showing us online, the way that he got a lot of clever shit to say about Dame Dash, or the fact that it's public. You couldn't possibly love and respect Dame if anything turns public between the two of them. Cam said that Dame asked him to come support his movie, and he did. But the movie's garbage, even though Cam appeared in, I believe, several scenes in the movie. It's just a bit, it's real nasty. It's real nasty, but I feel that in a nutshell that Dame always wants to be the boss, and Cam wants to be the boss as well. He don't want to be underneath Dame, and he probably don't even want to be partners with Dame. He wants to be the man in Harlem. So that's how I view it, and I don't know. I don't agree with.
Yeah, this Tragedy Gaddafi repping that truth ever, forever, respectfully. Tune in, stay tuned. We with that Gully TV. Everything Gully, everything ooh-ah. 2-5, Queens finest.
So you need an online push. Gully TV Media. East Coast, West Coast, down south, uptown, downtown, Switzerland. The hottest in the business. Underground MCs. Need a push? Gully TV. Published authors. You need a push? Gully TV. Your daily online source of hip-hop, sports, and fashion. The email is below. GullyTVBoss@gmail.com. Hit me up. I'll be there.